You have some money saved. It's sitting in your bank account, looking respectable. Good job, you. But every time you buy groceries, you realize your respectable pile of money is losing a fight with a loaf of bread. My savings are getting weaker? How is that possible? They haven't moved an inch. They just sit there. I need to make this money do something. But I'm not ready to risk it all on a stock my nephew calls a 10-bagger. There's got to be a middle ground, right? Something safer? My grandpa mentioned something once. Buns? No, bonds. Okay, Buck, let's figure this out. What even is a bond? My brain just pictures James Bond in a suit. Turns out, a bond is just a fancy IOU. It's a loan. You are the lender. You're basically a tiny, one-person bank. All right, a loan. I get that. But who am I loaning money to? And more importantly, why would they ever pay me back? You're usually loaning to one of two big players, governments or big companies, also called corporations. When you buy a government bond, you're lending money to a country to pay for stuff, like roads, bridges, and more paperwork. These are considered super-duper safe. It's like loaning money to your grandma. She's definitely going to pay you back. Then there are corporate bonds. This is you loaning money to a company so they can build a new factory or invent a robot butler. Okay, so I'm a lender. Cool, but what's in it for me? I'm not running a charity here. They pay you for the loan. This payment is called interest. Think of it as a little thank you fee for borrowing your cash. These interest payments happen regularly, like every 6 months. It's like a tiny, predictable paycheck for your money. And here's the best part. At the end of the loan period, you get your original money back, the whole lump sum. They call this maturity, which sounds very grown-up. My money is more mature than I am. Checks out. So I get interest payments, and I get my original money back? That sounds way better than it just sitting there. Okay, that actually makes sense. It's the don't lose my money investment. My brain can finally relax. If you want more money stuff explained without the usual headache, maybe stick around. You know what to do. But wait, I heard a word. Coupon. Are we clipping things out of the Sunday paper to get a discount on soup? No, the coupon is just a fancy, old-timey name for the interest rate the bond pays. That's it. Back in the day, bond certificates had actual paper or coupons you'd tear off and trade in for your interest payment. So if a bond has a 5% coupon, it pays you 5% of the bond's price every single year. Simple. Okay, that's less confusing. But here's the scary question. What if they don't pay me back? What if the company goes bust? That's the big risk. It's called default risk. It's the financial version of your friend forgetting to pay you back for pizza. So how do I know who's a reliable friend and who's going to ghost me when the bill comes? There are credit rating agencies. Think of them like Yelp for companies. They give them a grade from AAA down to D. AAA is the straight A student. Super trustworthy. They've done all their homework. Almost zero risk. Stuff in the B range is a bit more of a slacker. They'll probably pay you back, but you might have to remind them. And then there's the D rating. This is the guy who borrowed your lawnmower and moved to another country. Avoid. These low-rated bonds are called junk bonds. They promise to pay you a ton of interest to make up for the risk. It's a gamble. High reward, but a much higher chance of getting nothing back. My stomach hurts just thinking about it. Governments, especially stable ones like the US, get the highest ratings. That's why they're seen as the safest of safe. So, you're loaning money to build a bridge or a school, or maybe even fund a space mission. That's kind of cool. What's the weirdest thing you would want your money to fund with a bond? A giant statue of a squirrel? Let me know below. Okay, this is making sense. But I've heard that bond prices can change. How can an IOU change in price? This is where my brain starts to melt. It has to do with something called interest rates. The big, scary ones from the news. Think of it like a seesaw. On one end, you have interest rates in the economy. On the other end, you have bond prices. When interest rates go up, the prices of existing bonds go down. The seesaw tilts. And when interest rates go down, the prices of existing bonds go up. It's a perfect balance. But why? This feels like financial wizardry. I need a simple example. Please. Imagine you buy a bond for $1,000 that pays you 5% interest. That's $50 a year. You're happy. But next week, the bank announces that new bonds are paying 6%. Suddenly, your 5% bond looks kind of lame. Nobody wants to buy your old 5% bond for the full price when they can get a shiny new 6% one. So, to sell your bond, you have to offer it at a discount. Maybe for $950 instead of $1,000. Its price went down because new interest rates went up. See? The seesaw in action. But here's the secret. If you just hold your bond until the end, until it matures, none of that matters. You'll still get all your interest payments, and you'll still get your original $1,000 back at the end. The price changes only matter if you plan on selling your bond early. Otherwise, you can just ignore the noise. Phew. Okay, my brain is only slightly scrambled. So how do I actually buy one of these things? Am I supposed to call up the government? Hello, Mr. President. I'd like to loan you $20. Sangfili, no. Most people don't buy individual bonds. It can be complicated and expensive. Instead, they buy something called a bond fund or a bond ETF. Another acronym. Great. Think of a bond fund as a big pizza. You can't afford the whole thing, but you can buy a slice. The fund owns thousands of different bonds from all sorts of companies and governments. You buy a share of the fund, and you instantly own a tiny piece of all of them. It's diversification on easy mode. If one of those bonds goes bad, if one company can't pay back its loan, it's just one burnt pepperoni on a giant pizza. It doesn't ruin your whole meal. The risk is spread out. It's way safer than owning just one or two bonds. You could buy these bond funds through any regular brokerage account, the same place you buy stocks. There are funds for everything. U.S. government bonds, international bonds, corporate bonds, you name it. It's the simplest way to get started. No phone calls to world leaders required. So, let's recap this for my tired brain. A bond is a loan I make to a government or a company. They pay me interest for letting them borrow my money. It's like rent, but for cash. At the end of the term, I get my original money back. The main course of the meal. It's generally safer than stocks because I'm a lender, not an owner. I get paid back first if things go wrong. Wait, really? I get paid first? That seems important. Why didn't anyone lead with that? Yep. In a bankruptcy, a company has to pay its lenders before its owners get a single penny. So bonds are the boring, sensible shoes of the investing world. Stocks are the flashy, rocket-powered sneakers. The rocket sneakers might take you to the moon, or they might explode on the launch pad. The sensible shoes? They'll just get you where you're going, safely and reliably, every single time. You need both in your financial closet. You don't wear hiking boots to a wedding, and you don't wear dress shoes on a mountain. So bonds aren't about getting rich quick. They're about not getting poor. They're defense. They balance out the crazy swings of the stock market. When stocks zig, bonds often zag. This gives your total portfolio a much smoother ride. Less panic-inducing, more sleep at night. Okay, I get it. The money in my savings account is being beaten up by bread. That's inflation. Buying a bond or a bond fund is a way to make that money fight back without putting it in a professional cage match. It's not supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be effective. It's a grown-up move. It's about making sure the money you saved actually stays valuable and maybe even grows a little. So, They're not as scary as they sound. Just a simple IOU with some weird, old-timey names. And now, my money might stand a chance against that ridiculously expensive logo.